Hey everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Dear Jill. So nice to be with you all. Eremition.
Go on.
Have you heard of that word?
No.
Me neither, until about an hour ago.
Okay.
So my friend Julie sent me this word. Eremition, the act of gradually fading from the lives of others, not out of malice, but a desire for solitude or renewal. Sometimes disappearing isn't about leaving others behind, it's about finding yourself in the quiet. Can you relate to that at all? Have you ever done that? Because basically what we were kind of talking about was just the idea of sometimes you have people in your life and sometimes there may not have been any particular conflict or any big eruption of any sort, but you might quietly start to back off. And that person will no longer, you'll just kind of retreat from that person. Have you ever had that experience?
Initially, I want to say no, but I'm a firm believer of everything happens for a reason. So if we've drifted apart, it's because we're meant to drift apart. And if we drift together, it's because we're meant to drift together.
So you don't think you've ever done anything consciously?
No.
Right.
Have you?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I've experienced it and I've also done it. And at first you're like, you can be like, oh, have I done something wrong? Is it bad? Did I upset them? But obviously you go through all of those thoughts. But sometimes I think it's just people come into your life for a certain amount of time and you might enjoy that time. And then that time just comes to an end, and for whatever reason, then like you say, that drifting happens, but you notice that maybe neither of you are doing anything in order to bring you back. So it's like an acknowledgement, isn't it? But a kind acknowledgement, a kind of like, it's okay. Like we were there for a certain chapter and now we are no longer in that chapter.
When you're saying you actively knew that you were doing this, so you knew in a situation, I'm done with this.
Yes.
And I'm off quietly.
Yeah. So obviously it wouldn't happen overnight. It would have been, maybe the last few times or the last 5 or 6 times I'd seen somebody where it was really about what do I get from this? What do they get from that? Is this something that I want to nourish? Is this something I want to put more time into? Or is this something that, as nice as it is, it's just not something that I can see like I necessarily want to go forward with? And like I say, it's not nasty or malicious in any way. It's just a kind of time to go, no, I will back off. I will consciously back off. And I will be probably happy then if contact is no more. But I just think that some people might hear that and think, oh, that's awful. Why would you do that? And maybe it's because I'm older as well. Like there are just gonna be people and that are gonna be in my life sometimes and then not at other times. And I think I've made peace with that. And I think it's just really lovely that there is a word for it, rather than going, don't know what happened there.
I don't know why I'm feeling like this.
Just drifted. I haven't heard from them for ages. And it's like, Eremition.
It's meant to be.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's really okay. Like if anybody feels that way about somebody, it's not like I say, it's just your time together is done. Relationships, romantic ones, come to an end.
Yeah.
I think friendships are allowed to come to an end without it having to be a fallout. I think sometimes there's only a certain amount of room. Certainly for me, I would rather have a smaller group of people that I feel more connected to than a larger group of people who are almost stress out to keep in touch with.
Interesting. Very interesting. My boyfriend's mum, she always has this thing that she says, I'm trying to think of the rhyme because it's a rhyme. People are there for a reason, a season, or a meaning, but that doesn't really rhyme. I don't know what the last one is. It's definitely a reason and a season.
What's up?
Yeah, I'm going to have to. But either way, a reason or a season, that's also good.
It's exactly it, though. That's what I mean. It's not everybody has to be there forever. And that's and you don't have to not see someone because of something really negative. It could just be, and that is it. Like, our time has come to an end.
I'd feel bad. I really would. I'd be like, oh no.
But the job that you do, right?
Yeah.
You meet hundreds of people. You will continue to meet so many people. Does that mean you will keep in contact with all of those people? Or do you tend not to like forge necessarily close relationships?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I have my people.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to lose my people.
Yes.
But, you know, if someone comes along, I'll happily be. But I think social media as well.
Yeah.
If I have contact with you, I see you through social media, I feel like I've still got that little bit of a connection.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not really there or really someone you would call upon or...
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? It's funny that with social media that you feel like you can know so much about what's going on in someone's life, and yet you haven't seen them for 3 or 4 years, and you would never ring them, you know, for any reason. I find that quite odd, actually. I struggle with that a little bit, but that's probably just because of the way I'm wired. It feels like, oh, I shouldn't know that. I shouldn't know so much about that person if I'm not contacting them, if I'm not like reaching out and making an effort.
Some people that I used to go to school with, which was yonks ago, they were like getting married, having kids. I'm like, I'm not invited to the wedding. I think I should be, but really I've not spoken to them in 10 years. That's a problem.
That's a funny feeling, that, isn't it? When you are slightly put out that you don't get an invite, but when you really question yourself, you wouldn't have gone anyway.
No, oh, definitely not.
But it's a funny old feeling, isn't it? And also, you know, if somebody invites me somewhere and I don't want to go, I feel bad then saying no. So it should just be easier not to be invited. But there's always a little part of you that's like, I wasn't invited.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm going to drift off. Like that word.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Eremition.
Eremition.
Yeah.
It's in there now.
Yeah.
Eremition.
Good.
Right, let's get on with the podcast.
Let's do it.
Dear Jill, I don't really like my mum's boyfriend. He's so irritating and sometimes gives off manipulative vibes. I've spoken to her about it and she agrees. However, she just seems so happy. I lost my dad around 2 years ago, so I don't know if it's my way of grief or if it is actually a red flag. P.S. Love you so much.
Oh. I believe in the gut. I believe that when somebody makes us feel a certain way, that the body is often right and the head often tries to convince us otherwise. So if you're getting manipulative, slightly controlling feelings about this person and your mum is agreeing, then I don't think you're wrong. It sounds to me like there's something in that. The tricky part for you now is it's your mum's choice to be with whoever she wants to be with. And you have to somehow find a way to be able to spend time with them without that person upsetting you or crossing a boundary. So maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe you have to choose carefully about when and where you're going to, you know, see your mum and her partner, what it's going to entail, how long you'll be with them. And if they did say anything that you found manipulative or controlling, you are allowed to say, that sounds a bit manipulative. Because if your mum already admits that they're like that, then it shouldn't come as a surprise to her if you're going to call it out. But just protect yourself around it. But there's so many times I've felt something and I've told myself, because it's been an awkward truth. You know, those awkward truths where you're like, I know this is a thing, but it's going to make life really difficult if I bring it to the fore, if I say something. But I think you've got to listen to it. You've got to trust yourself. And listen, be prepared to be wrong. Because if you go with that feeling and it turns out, oh no, I got that completely wrong, fine. You got it wrong and all is good. And your mum can be happy and you can be happy for her. But for the time being, I would say just be boundaried, protect yourself, keep listening to your gut, and just be mindful of where and when you're spending time together.
Our next one's from June.
Dear Jill, I lost my eldest sister when I was 5 years old. I lost my grandparents between being the ages of 7 to 16, and I lost my dad when I was 22. and my mum when I was 24, and my late husband in 2023. How can I begin to overcome this life of grief?
June, that is an enormous amount of loss. And it just feels very unfair that some people have so much loss in their life so early on as well. And others can, experience loss in the way that everybody hopes that we experience loss, which is just a long and happy life. And then, you lose someone at the end, because we all know that that's what happens. It's so funny, isn't it? With life and with suffering and with pain and the things we go through. Nobody would ever wish it on anyone. And some of the things that I've experienced, if I could click my fingers and live my life again, I would still go through them, because the lesson is in the pain. That is where every lesson you'll ever learn in your life. You don't learn from success. You don't learn from happiness. You learn from suffering, and you learn from pain. So I can only imagine that you must be a very wise, and I would have presumed a very empathetic person, because of what you've been through, because of what you've had to go through your whole life with. And I would also, maybe from your message as well, think that maybe losing your partner feels like the last kick in the stomach. And you're thinking, why? Why me? But part of our grief is the acceptance. I'm in recovery, and there is a phrase where we say, why me? Why not me? And it really is just a way of leveling ourselves with everybody else, because it can feel like there's so much suffering that you've had to put up with that other people haven't had to experience. But I think one of the things I've learned in my life is that some people's suffering is easy to see. Like your loss, you can say, this is all the loss I've had in my life. And other people suffer in very different ways that you would never know about, you would never think about. Very privately sometimes, people live extremely lonely lives in their own suffering. So you can live with all that loss. You are living with all that loss. You could, if you wanted to, not that you have to, put all of that experience to use. You could go and help people who are also grieving. You could become like a grief counsellor of some sort. You could help out at a grief cafe or a grief charity. And you're like, listen, I got all the life experience you need here. But if you don't want to do that, that's completely fine as well. But you just have to know that your grief, your pain, your experience is not the end of you. It's just the part of you, in the way that somebody else is suffering that we might never know about, that they will hold on privately until the end of their days and never tell a single soul about. That's their suffering and that's their pain. And we're all going through it. Nobody gets away from this. Just because somebody doesn't experience the amount of loss you have, they've experienced something else. So it's easy for us to feel like we've been given the crappy end of the stick, basically. But I think that the reality is that if we were all really honest, cards on the table, I think we probably all could really learn from each other and understand that actually everyone's just riding this roller coaster, and there are good times and there are bad times, and there are times where you just think, I just cannot take anymore, and there are times where you think, life feels like kind of wonderful, and I believe that you'll have those life is wonderful again. But don't think that your experience is the end of who you are or what you can be. It's actually just the beginning. You could give so much of that back if you wanted to. And if you don't want to, then just know that there are that's just like an old philosophy, like that the lesson is in the pain, always, always. And sometimes it can be a tough pill to swallow. It certainly has been for me in the past, but I wouldn't be sat here now if I hadn't gone through some of the things I'd gone through. There's just no way that I would be here now. The only way I can be here is because I think through some of the things I've experienced, I've begun to open up and be way more empathetic about what might be going on with other people. So my heart does go out to you, but please, 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 please don't give up.
Our next voice note is from Tilly.
Dear Jill, so my little one is due to start school this September, and I'm really struggling with all the emotions surrounding him growing up so fast. When I fell pregnant, a lot of people joked about how quickly it goes, but it really does. Do you have any advice around how I can make the last few months before he goes to school special?
You see, Tilly, so I have a 16-year-old now. And the thing about having children is that life moves at breakneck speed, as you're finding out. It's really, when people say this to you, you don't believe it, and then you have children, you go, I don't know what's happening. I don't know why time has sped up and why everything's moving so fast. But the thing I would say is, like, rejoice in the fact that your child is nearly ready to go to school. It means he's happy. It means he's healthy. It means he can go to school. It means he's still here. Every time your child has a birthday or another milestone in his life, it's because he's with you and living and having his life, and you're there to observe it and breathe it all in and take in every minute of it. The sadness of thinking that you have to look back in the past already and hold on to every moment. You don't. You just have to be present with all of the things that are happening. I mean, if you wanted to celebrate the last couple of months before he went to school, yeah, like go out, have some fun days out, do some fun things together, but you don't have to mourn it. You don't have to mourn that. You can say, I loved those preschool years. But you know what you might love even more? The school years. You might love all the nativity plays and the school plays and the after school clubs and them coming home and telling you all about their day, which I used to love. Like, we have to remember that the reason we bring kids into the world, the reason we give birth is to be able to watch them grow. It is an absolute pleasure and gift that you're watching your child grow and become what they're going to become. Like, never forget that. It's such a shame now they're at college and, oh, my child's gone to university. I think, well, that's great, isn't it? That's amazing. It's amazing that you've brought somebody up that wants to go and see the rest of the world or move to a different country because you must have done such a good job that person now wants to go and experience the world. And that's, your child is about to go into a really exciting part of their life, which is like school and friends and learning and playing. And it's just wonderful. If I was you, I would just feel so happy that they were with you and you were going to get to witness all of that. It's like, it really is a gift. So I would just spin it on its head and say, this is just a gift. Because the opposite of that would be to think that for some reason your child couldn't go to school or wasn't able to, or something had happened. That's horrendous. That's a horrendous thought. So when you think about it like that, which would be a very stoic way of thinking about it, like what would be the opposite scenario? When you think about it in the opposite scenario, you think, wow, I'm so happy that I get to see them do this. So that would be my advice.
We'll go to a caller.
Yeah.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, it's Emma.
Hello, Emma.
Dear Jill, I have a problem.
Yeah, go on. Hit me.
Yes. So I'm very much a people person.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be surrounded by people. I like feeding off energy. I like to have friends to go and see. I like that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I'm very much an organised person, or at least I think I am. I like things in the diary. I like things to look forward to and to have them things planned and sorted, and I know that I'm going to go and have a nice time no matter if I have a rubbish week. I know on Friday night I'm going to go and do this, and it's going to make me feel good with my friends. However, in all the little friend groups that I do have, I feel like I'm the only person that makes plans, and I'm the only one that organises things, and therefore in my head I go, well, they don't really want to be my friend, and I'm stuck because I want to carry on and be the person to do it, but then there's a stubbornness in me of going, right, I'm not going to message them, I'm not going to do any of those things, and I'm going to see what happens. Consequently, I've done that and I've got no plans and I'm really sad. So that's what's happened to me. Please help.
Right, I'm not laughing at your problem.
Okay.
I'm laughing because you should meet Maureen. Maureen's my mum.
Okay.
Okay, Maureen is the organizer. You are Maureen. Maureen is you. Okay. So I'm not the organizer in my group of friends, so I'm going to come at it from that point of view, okay? Some people are very good at what you do, and you are one of them. And if I was in your friend group and you were the organizer, I know this does sound a bit pathetic when I say it out loud, but I'm just going to be honest. It's not that I don't want to see you. It's just that for me, it takes quite a lot of energy to think about where to go. I worry that people won't want to go there. I worry that people won't agree with the timings and then it'll all get really heavy. And I just think some people are naturally very, very good organisers. So what I'm trying to say is I would just rely on you. And if you didn't make arrangements, I probably would let it go 1, 2, 3, 4, probably at least 6 weeks.
Okay.
Before I went, I think I need to reach out. You know, nothing's been in the like when my mum hasn't planned something, it's hilarious. So when my mum hasn't planned something with her mates, because she's got a lovely bunch of friends, they will literally ring her on the landline and be like, Maureen, you all right? And she'll be like, yeah. And they'll be like, it's just you haven't been on the WhatsApp group to say what we're doing this week.
Okay.
So the question I would propose to you is, there was a Friends episode about this, you know, it's coming back to me now. Are you trying to trick people into saying, like, do you care about me? Is that your way of saying, do you care?
Maybe it is.
Because I think there's a nicer way to say, or there's an easier way to ask, do you care?
Which is?
Just be with them and be like, I really, really value you. Sometimes I feel like maybe I'm not as valued as that in my head. And they'll then go, just say it. The games we play and the things we do are so mad when you could actually just say the words. But the other thing I would say to you, right, is that let's pretend I'm in your friend group. You love to be organised. You love a structure. You like your diary. What if I'm like, right, we're all meeting on Friday night and we're doing X, Y, and Z, and you're like, oh no, that doesn't fit in with my plans. So what I'm trying to say is you like control in the diary because it suits you. So you'll only suggest things that suit you. And it's not that you're not thinking about other people, but what I mean is you'll go, I'm going to swim on Friday night and I'm seeing my boyfriend on Saturday morning. So actually sort of like tea time on Saturday would really suit me. And then you'll suggest that. So are you prepared for somebody to come into your friendship group and make plans that you would have to juggle? And would that be all right with you?
That's the thing. I'd love them to go, here's a plan, let's do it.
Yeah.
But then the stress of me having to redo the diary would be hard. So maybe I'd love them to say something as long as I was free.
So that's a good point. And one of the things I've noticed about my mum, and one of the things I really love about her is that she never has resisted being the organizer. I think it makes her feel safe. She likes to be more in control. She likes to know that she's booked the train ticket. She'll go to the ticket office and double check. And she likes that feeling of control. And I'm getting the idea that you might like that feeling as well. Do you? Or are you saying to me, I want to be out. I don't want to be in control. I want to relinquish some of that.
Yeah, maybe I like the fact that I get to choose places and go places and be like, I suggest this, but I'd love someone to take the reins.
And have you ever said it?
No.
So so instead of saying it, you're playing a game. you're like, right,
Yeah,
I'll just see
I'm
what they're
playing
doing.
the game.
And you can play the game. It's all right. It's just that the game often doesn't work. And the easiest thing to say is just like, I love organising girls and you know I'm really good at it. But I'd love it if one of you guys took the reins sometime. They might say, I don't want to, and then you'll have to deal with that. Or they might say, oh, I'd love to, but I always think I'm stepping on your toes if I do.
Okay.
It's just most dilemmas or most problems we have in life, especially like relationship problems, are so much easier when they're just said. And instead we dance around them and we do this and we do, well, I did this and he still didn't call. Well, I said this and I think he meant this. It's like, just say. So I get what you're saying, because it must be hard to be that one, but there is always one in a group that's, I think, better than the rest.
Obviously.
I know it's a talent as well. And you see, the group that I'm in at the minute with my friends, I would say there isn't one obvious leader of organising. So what happens is it tends to get a little bit disjointed and kind of too many opinions almost. Whereas if you were the sort of like unelected leader, would just be like, well, Emma says we're doing that. Like, Mom, well, Maureen says that's where we're going. And it's become a joke now, but it's like, well, Maureen says we're doing it, so we're doing it. And it's almost easier. I think we all kind of want a leader in our friendship group to just go, yeah, that's a suggestion. And we all say yes or no.
Okay.
So do you think a bit of both, maybe? You can, yeah?
I tell you, the group chat's tumbleweed because I'm not sorting anything.
And are you like looking at it going, well, I will not be the first one to post on here.
Exactly, but then I'm hurting myself because of it.
You are. That's the thing, because no one is doing that out of spite. No one doesn't care. They're just thinking, wish Emma would sort something out.
Yeah, I could really do with drinks on Friday, however.
And there's just another point in this, right? Weirdly, because you probably think I wouldn't be like this, but I do have like slight anxiety about being an organizer.
Do you?
I do. So like, let's just say it was something even really, really normal, like let's meet at that restaurant or that pub at 7:00. There would be a part of me that would have a narrative running underneath. What if it's bad? What if no one likes it? When I was younger, I used to sort of almost cry if I was having a birthday party, because I'd be so nervous that the people at my birthday party wouldn't have a good time. So I have like this ridiculous, like overly sensitive responsibility if I've been the organizer. But I would never, if you'd organise something, I would never put that responsibility on you. So I don't know why it doesn't work both ways in my head.
Okay. Maybe there's a Jill and an Emma in every friend group that are too scared to talk about it. No, but you would.
But you definitely sound like a Maureen. And as far as I'm concerned, Maureens are so valued in the friendship group.
Okay. Maybe I just need someone to say that.
Yeah, exactly. So to anybody who's listening that is Emma's friend, please tell her how much you value her.
Yeah. Please. Hey, you know what? That was quite nice.
Was it?
Yeah, it was very...
Was it?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Just talking is just usually like...
Yeah, it's nice.
It's nice,
It
isn't it?
nice.
Isn't it
I know
weird
we do
how
this all
much
the
we
time.
don't, though?
Yeah.
Like, about the real stuff. We'll talk about all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And then you'll walk away and I still didn't ask them. I
Yeah.
should have really said that about that, because that's been really playing on my mind.
Be more Jill. That's it.
Be more vulnerable.
I got a reply off my
Yes.
boyfriend's mum about the quote.
Yes.
I was halfway there. It is, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So it didn't rhyme.
But I like the end. Yeah, and that's so true.
Yeah. Learn from those there for a reason, appreciate those for a season, and nurture those there for a lifetime.
Love that.
That's it.
Yeah, that's really nice. I think that's exactly what I was trying to say in the beginning. Summed up so easily yet in that little
quote.
ditty.
And maybe, you know what, maybe you were here for a reason to give me that, what's it called?
I'm just here for a reason,
Oh,
Emma.
okay.
So I'm out.
Sorry.
Oh, great.
You're
All right
here
then.
for a lifetime.
Thanks everybody for calling in, and as usual, just, I always say this, but just being honest, being open. I mean, look, we just had an open, honest conversation there, and hopefully we can make each other feel better. See you next week.